Supriya, please.
Thank you. Sir, I start here from that I stand here to support the bill. I appreciate that there are two small points I'd like to start. The Honorable Minister, in her reply, she started by saying a lot of the amendments that are made are because of the interventions and suggestions of this Honorable Supreme Court, which is welcome. But I would like to remind her, last week we debated the Companies Act. And during the Companies Act, you said that UP had made it, and constantly we have to rebring it to bring in amendments. I think laws are made with very good intentions, whether you make them or we make them. This has barely been 2 years, and this is the third time I think we are talking about it. So I think we all need to rise, because at some point we have made it with good intentions, we have made it with good intentions. I think all governments make things with good intentions, but just because you've been bringing amendments, that doesn't make it a bad bill. I stand here today when this morning I was looking at the television and the market has fallen even 300 points today. Even during the budget, it fell down. And generally, the economy of this country is not in a very robust. I do appreciate you will be reaching 5 trillion economy. It's wonderful. Why 5? Let's aim for 10 if it's for the betterment of our country. But really, what is the ground reality? And the intent of this bill is very good, but what are the final outcomes that I'd like to say? You said this has to be fair and equitable. Now, I'd like to give a few examples. Since I come from Mumbai, which is the financial capital of this country, some people talked about the service industry. I'd like to highlight a point of, say, just an example, which is like Jet Airways. Now, how does Jet Airways fit into this? We went into liquidation for it. Now, thousands of jobs are gone. Now, even if you go to liquidate it, the aircrafts are all leased. So if you liquidate a company, would have been better. I do understand the government does not need to pump in money to restart the company. There are several examples I could give you like this. So could there be another plan just besides this, where we could help in some ways to revive companies? Like another example of steel industries. Just today, I saw the reason the market fell down is there are 9 verticals, including steel, it could be cement. That's why the economy is slowing down, because globally these are segments which are not doing well. And of course it's going to hurt the world, it's going to hurt us. We're not an insulated economy from the world after opening up. I'll give you an example of, say, like an SR Steel. Now SR Steel could have been resolved earlier. You are increasing the days. I'm sure increasing the days from 220 to 350, I could 330, I could stand corrected, is a very well intent, because I do understand there are some which have taken 600 days and really nothing has get. So why would you increase the days? And suppose a steel company has been sold, say, 2 months ago. Probably they would have, it's not about the person who has started the company. We are not doing this for the owners. We are doing this for the final people who have invested money, who are the bottom of the pyramid, and including the suppliers. Why are we looking even suppliers badly? And you talk about unsecured and secured. Now, who is secured and how is it unsecured, and how do we bring that, make sure both are well looked after? Do we have the mechanism for it, is my question. So why are all these delays going on is something I'd definitely like to ask, just for my knowledge, and after you say it, I think the whole country gets a message. And this is not just, it's applicable to the car manufacturing. I come from the state where Pune district, most of these car manufacturers are absolutely bleeding right now. The companies used to do double shifts 7 days a week, now they're only doing 5. So obviously these are all signals which are screaming for help. What is the government stand on this? Look at BSNL, HAL, salaries. We just discussed the code wages yesterday, which is a very well-intended bill. But Meghwalji was very kind enough yesterday when I talked about PSU salaries in that bill. He was very kind enough to say, send us a list, we'll try and intervene. But just intervention is not important. It has to be a sustainable model. And selling PSUs, bringing code in wage, being very happy that globally we are doing ease of business. But the reality, the common man and the economy is not saying so. So can we all put our minds to it? Because this is not about you versus us. This is not a political issue. India needs to grow. You agree, we agree. So what can we do by putting all our minds together to change this? And just by bringing in, I was thinking about this bill more or less since you've come. It's like, look at the Section 5. It's very complex when you talk about mergers. Now the NPAs, the whole idea of bringing this in the NPAs was 15 lakh crores that time. It could be even more, I could be stand corrected. But you brought in the resolution plan. Now you actually get more money in a resolution plan. You do not get in liquidation. So why are we looking at liquidation as an option? like I brought on any service industry, liquidation gets nothing to anybody, nothing to the common man. Why we have got this bill? So what more can we do for this? And in the last 2 years, can we at least get a white paper? What have we achieved? You have given one reply, I think it was given in an unstarred question, where it says financial creditors, operational creditors. And with the resolution, just about 45% people only have got money. And with liquidation, it's even less. So if the government admits to this, can we have a white paper on this, that we have got this with a good intention? We are making changes only on the behest of Supreme Court. So what can we do more to improve the situation? And the other 2 points which I'd like to say is, when you talk about waterfall mechanism, I think that's something you need to put it on record about secured and unsecured, of how they will have equal rights. If you could clarify about that. There are 2 businesses which I'd like to highlight. Is when we've had bidding processes. Now, after the court's intervention, since you mentioned the Supreme Court, look at an example. I mean, these are just things which you get in the newspaper, so I don't mean to quote any company, but look at the cement companies. There was a cement company which lost thousands of crores. There were bidders, there was conflict of interest. This bill should have addressed it. Do we really need Supreme Court to intervene? And in the whole thing, the entire bidding process was derailed. So what was the government doing then? Why did we need this? The realty business which Gaurav Gogoi has already talked about, I'd like to go one step ahead in this. Suppose I buy a flat and you buy a flat. We both don't know we bought in the same place, even if we know each other so well. But if that realtor leaves or we have nobody to turn to, where do we find 50% people? Even if they'll say go to an AGM, how do you find AGMs? Where will we get a price to rise? So if I was buying apartments, where will I go chasing 50% people? So why are we stuck? So is there some mechanism which you have in mind which will help us this? And what worries me most in this entire bill is, which I have not understood, which I think only you will be able to explain, is in this entire game, there is only one credit agency which handles everything. So suppose I am a company, there is one credit agency which says that I'm AAA, which is wonderful. When he goes to the bank, it's the same agency says that this AAA company is wonderful, please give them a loan. That same agency, when I go to NCLT, says, yes, there is a problem. So there's only one professional person who's called the RP, is handling all agencies. So the one who gives you the loan is the same person, the crediting agencies. So one crediting agency, how will we stop all this mess? So how are we going to change this, and what mechanism do we have? Like this insolvency and all came into a country like US ages ago. So they are ready for it because of all the amendments they've made. We are still, it's a baby for all of us. So what way can we find where all these agencies, which is a single credit agency, I don't care who they are. They could be from India, they could be abroad, whoever they are. But the general sense of the House and people who are outside this Parliament, ask me only one question, then when you all are sitting in Parliament, you all think all is really wonderful in this country. But when you are on the field, it is not. I do appreciate your answer would be people would have not shown this faith in us and we would have not been 303. That's not the point. Right now, the economy is in the doldrums and there are markers which are screaming for help. So I would request you that what are you going to do about all these several issues that have come, and the credit agencies, how will they multiply and how will make sure that they reach the last person who is reaching for help? Otherwise it's a monopoly. So आप लोन भी एक से ही लो, certificate भी उसी लो और दिवाला भी उसी से निकालो. So it's all one agency. So if you could kindly clarify how we can improve this. I wholeheartedly support this, but I think we all need to put our minds to it, get some professional advice. Maybe you can go to the standing committee again once or twice to get some more recommendations and do this for the right intention so that it gets implemented on the field for the reasons that you have brought it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sri Pinaki Mishra ji.